Rice. I'm an attorney for the Office of Conservation. With me this evening is Ms. Rebecca Edwards, a geologist with the Office of Conservation, Injection and Mining Division. I've been designated by the Commissioner of Conservation to act as the hearing officer here. My duty as the hearing officer is to see that there's a clear and accurate record of the hearing, so it's made so that the decision makers have and understand all the testimony. Public hearings are intended to receive comments, not to answer questions. Here at the hearing, the Office of Conservation will promptly respond to all relevant comments made at this hearing or submitted during the public comment period. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to allow all interested persons an opportunity to enter into the record any relevant oral or written comments or data concerning the Injection and Mining Division permit in response to Hackberry Sequestration, LLC, application for the drilling of one Class 6 injection well. Excuse me. This well will be located in Section 12, Township 12 South, Range 11 West, Cameron Parish, Louisiana. I stress the word relevant since only such comments will be considered by the Commissioner in reaching a decision regarding the application. An example of a relevant comment could include whether or not a permit application is in full compliance with the applicable rules and regulations for this type of project. As a matter of information, rules and regulations regarding these types of operations are found in statewide order 29N1, which is codified as the Louisiana Administrative Code, Title 43, Part 17, Subpart 1. For those of you who wish to make comments, for the record, I would ask that each of you fill out the blue comment card. If you have not already done so, the blue attendance cards are located here on the desk, and while I'm speaking, while others are speaking, if you still wish to speak, you can come grab one and fill it out, and then turn it in at another convenient time. Please mark whether or not you'd like to speak on the card, and then bring the card to us here at the desk. The public comment period ends on June 5th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. This has been extended 30 days. If you desire to submit a written comment for consideration after the close of this hearing, please submit your written comment to the Office of Conservation, Injection and Mining Division, 617 North 3rd Street, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70802. Written comments can also be emailed to info@la.gov. That's info@la.gov. Any written comments must be submitted via mail, must be postmarked by June 5th, 2025. And any comments submitted via email must be received by June 5th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. Please understand that you may make oral statements or submit written comments. If you have a lengthy statement that you intend to read, I ask that you please summarize the statement and submit the written statement to the court reporter for inclusion in the record. If you plan to enter into the record any oversized documents that are larger than a legal size document, they must be reduced to the least legal size, that is 8.5 by 14 inches. If you plan to enter into the record a video or audio recording, you must have a copy today for the court reporter. All written comments will receive the same level of consideration as any oral statements. Copies of Hackberry Corporate Sequestration, LLC application were available for public review at the Office of the Injection and Mining Division in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and on the Injection and Mining Division's webpage. Public notices regarding the hearing were published at least 30 days before this hearing in the Cameron Parish Pilot, the official parish journal for Cameron Parish, and in the Advocate, the official state journal. At this time, I call on Ms. Rebecca Edwards to file into the record the appropriate state exhibits and to provide a synopsis of the application.
The state submits the following exhibits for the record. Exhibit number 1, public notice. Exhibit number 2, fact sheet. Exhibit number 3, applicant notification of public hearing and assessment of the public hearing fee. Exhibit number 3A, receipt of public hearing fee. Exhibit number 3B, application availability at Office of Conservation. Exhibit number 3C, posting of link to electronic application package on the Office of Conservation and Injection and Mining Division's websites. Exhibit number 4, proof of publication of public notices. Exhibit number 4A, the Advocate publication. Exhibit number 4B, the Cameron Parish pilot publication. Exhibit number 5, list of interested parties notified of the public hearing. Exhibit number 5A, confirmation of public notices sent by mail. Exhibit number 6, draft order, Form UIC 60 application and attachments for application number 45026. And exhibit number 7, public comments and or exhibits. Hackberry Carbon Sequestration LLC has submitted an application to drill a Class 6 injection well designated Hackberry Carbon Sequestration Well number 001. The well will be in an approximate location of latitude 30 degrees, 1 minute, 50.432 seconds north, longitude -93 degrees, 26 minutes, 53.74 seconds west, in NAD 27 LA South. The well will be used for the geological sequestration or long-term containment of a carbon dioxide stream in the subsurface. The total depth of the well is at a depth of 10,100 feet below ground level. The base of the lowermost underground source of drinking water in the vicinity is approximately 1,090 feet VGL. The application consists of the application form, attachments describing the geology and hydrology, the construction, completion, and operation of the well and enclosure.
Thank you. The docket exhibits have now been filed into the record. If you intend to speak this evening and have not filled out one of the blue comic attendance cards, please do so at this time. Now, we have a fairly large number of people wishing to make comments tonight. And in order to allow everyone to have a fair opportunity to speak, I am limiting the time of each speaker to 3 minutes. Any unsaid comments at the end of the time may be submitted in writing and will be entered into the record. Also, you can come up after everyone is finished, and if you have more to say, we'll allow you to speak at that time. When speaking, please be mindful of this yellow cord and this red cord. The yellow cord means that you have 1 minute left to conclude your statement. The red cord means that you should swiftly conclude your statement. And thank you for understanding. As you begin speaking, please state your name and whom you represent, if you are appearing in like a representative capacity. When another person is speaking, please do not disrupt the comments by interrupting or engaging in side conversation, as it tends to distort or mask the recording and makes the job of the court reporter more difficult. Again, the public comment period will close on June 5th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. With that said, I will now receive public comments. Would any of the elected officials like to make a statement or provide a public comment?
Yes, man. Lou. It's not.
Is there a button to turn it on?
Lou. Yeah. Yes, my name's Michael Fuel, police jury here locally here in Hackberry, District 2. Just like to get up in front of the community and also this hearing to just say thank you to Sempra, gratitude. They're a good community partner, always looking for ways to help in the community. As far as this project, we've had a few meetings with them, and they've really took some comments that we made around the location of the pipeline routes and take that for consideration to pretty much stay on their property. They're supposed to get back with us after the first layer of the permit process. But overall, I just want to say thank you to Sempra. building we're sitting in today, always looking to help the community. Conclude with that.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other elected officials that wish to speak? Having none, the first person to speak would be Mr. Howard Romero.
Well, I thank you. I like to be number one every once in a while, so here I am. Look, I'm a resident of Cameron Parish, lived in Cameron Parish all my life. I'm also president of the Port Harbor and Terminal District for the total of Cameron Parish. Now, the one thing we do is encourage industry. So when we look at industry, I know that when the LNGs first come to town, we had a lot of negative issues. They said all kind of things were going to happen that didn't. So we weighed the pluses and the minuses, and we chose to support the LNGs. And I spoke at every FERC meeting they had for every LNG in Cameron Parish in support of it. And I think that was the right thing to do, because Cameron Parish would be dead on the vine today if it wasn't for that. So what I say about this process, weigh the issues. I mean, how many water systems, that's what they're throwing out there, people are throwing out there, that the water system will be destroyed. And nobody can show me or tell me one that has been. The other side of that, we've been drilling through the aquifer for years, depositing salt water that came out of the ground, we put it back in the ground, and nor have we destroyed our aquifers. So I would be a concern if that was a possibility. So I'm gonna think the odds are very, very low that that would ever happen. Everything can happen, but I think it's very, very low. So with that, I would have to say I support the LNG for putting this in ground. You know, the reason why they're doing this is because everybody complained about putting the CO2 in the air. So we're taking it back out of the air, and we're gonna put it back in the ground where it came from, because when it came out of the ground, it came with the oil and gas, and it was stripped from the plants, and now we're gonna put it back in the ground, which I think is much more safer than putting it in the air and affecting the ozone layer. So with that, I'd support you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is Kim Monty.
Hi, my name is Kim Monte. I'm the Cameron Parish Port Director, and I'm also a resident of Cameron Parish. I understand the positive economic impacts being seen by the state and parishes from the recent deals being made with projects like the Meta Data Center, the Hyundai Steel Mill, and the CF Industries Blue Ammonia Plant. With this growth comes the need for carbon capture sequestration. I support CCS. I trust the science and research behind the technology, but I also support the protection of landowners' rights. If a landowner doesn't want a CCS pipeline to pass through their property, I believe in protecting their right. The CCS project needs to go around. I also believe that we have numerous residents that own hundreds of acres of marsh not fit for much else that would welcome a revenue stream from that marsh. The Hackberry Sequestration project, from my research and in my opinion, is an almost ideal project. All land involved in the project is owned by Cameron LNG, a Sempra Infrastructure joint venture. The Hackberry Carbon Sequestration project will lease this land directly from Cameron LNG with no pipelines crossing other private properties. The site's geology is well suited for the project, and no previously drilled wells exist within its footprint. For more than 25 years, Sempra Infrastructure has been a valued neighbor with employees who live and work in our community. We all enjoy the benefits industry brings to our lives. There isn't a person that I know that would want to live without electricity, cell phones, automobiles, or the many other amenities produced by the industry in our state. Industry drives our state's economy and makes our quality of life better. CCS is one of the solutions to balance industry and sustain our environment.
Thank you. Next speaker is Jeremy Sheehan.
Jeremy Shealy, representing ExxonMobil's support for approval of the Class 6 permit. Sempra's Hackberry CCS project will be supporting Cameron LNG facility to provide energy that the global market demands. Class 6 wells are essential for the safe and permanent storage of CO2 deep underground, preventing its release into the atmosphere. ExxonMobil recognizes that LNG and CCS are a significant part of the oil and gas industry's future, and they're thrilled to see innovative energy solutions in the state. And with that, I respectfully convey ExxonMobil's support for approval of the permit. And that concludes my statement.
Thank you. The next speaker we have is Brendan Murphy.
Hello, my name is Brendan Murphy. I live in Hackberry, Louisiana, and I'm opposed to this project. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Tip Meckel.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tip Meckel. I'm a senior research scientist at the Texas Bureau of Economic Geology in Austin. For the last 18 years, I've worked on geological and geophysical aspects of carbon capture and storage systems in the Gulf Coast in a dedicated research group now composed of a dozen full-time PhD scientists. I'm speaking from my own personal experience as well as those of my research center. The Carbon Center at UT has been working on CCS since 1998, so it's not a new technology in terms of understanding its aspects. Our lengthy research program has shown through rigorous and transparent field demonstration projects and lab experiments that the properties of sedimentary rocks, such as the Miocene that underlay the HCS permitted proposal site, are extremely suitable for storage permanence. Further, we find that the data required in Class 6 permits is sufficient to support the expectation of safety and storage permanence. We've shown in field and lab studies that fluid flow modeling for predicting CO2 and pressure behavior in the subsurface are mature and provide sufficient confidence to de-risk commercial projects. Our experience in developing and testing plume and pressure monitoring techniques required in Class 6 permits increases confidence in model predictions and further reduces uncertainties beyond those removed by good subsurface characterization. We find through our evaluations of more than 4 decades of deep well injection under Class 1 and Class 2 programs adds confidence that Class 6 wells will be successful in permanently storing CO2. And we find that controlled release and field experiments that the risk to fresh water can be effectively managed to avoid endangerment of these resources. In our estimation, the draft permits for the Hackberry sequestration wells contain the required information for permitting through the state regulatory process. And I encourage all stakeholders in the current well permitting process to reach out to those at LSU and our other research groups for more information with any subsurface questions. Thanks very much. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker will be James Hyatt.
Yep, thank you. My name is James Hyatt. I am from Lake Charles. I'm representing an organization called For a Better Bayou. I appreciate the LDNR holding this hearing and also extending the comment period another 30 days. It is a lot of information, and I am not a geologist or a scientist, but to go through this is a lot. We've heard a lot already that this is proven science, that they know what they're doing, that Class 1 and Class 2 wells have not had problems. This is something entirely different, and being in the minority in this room of people that believe that climate change is driven by carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases, it blows my mind that people are falling over themselves to shove this, under the rug and continue pumping or wanting to pump carbon dioxide underground. In this area specifically, where we know there are thousands of abandoned wells, the company spoke specifically that they took a drone and that the magnetometers couldn't find any old casing or old pipe. Who's to say that the CO2 will not migrate? And the fact that the class 5 well and what we know of the geology is only a little bit. Who's to say that these impermeable rocks, these layers that's supposed to protect the aquifer and us, will not and are not already perforated and have all these faults already there. So that's one of the concerns. The other concern that the DNR should address is safety, and I read through some of this. What does it cost to put some carbon dioxide monitors? And I'm not even so concerned about if the pipeline were to bust, but if the containment underground were to fail. How would we know? How would people know, and how can people feel safe? Not just about the aquifer being contaminated, but also about the air that we breathe. I was also shocked to hear that the marsh is, I heard someone say the marsh is, what use is it? The marsh is an incredible carbon capture, and perhaps if we would restore more of that, that would be better than trying to pipe it and to sweep it under the rug. I used to work in the industry, and someone out there told me, if you could see the rug for the amount of stuff that we have swept under it, the rug's halfway to the moon. And so I think that the DNR should deny this permit, and we should get more information about the suitability of this exact location. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mindy Gilbert.
Hello, my name is Mindy Gilbert, and I am a resident of Cameron Parish. My concern is the proximity of the injection well to the strategic oil reserve. Because the science is unfounded, it's unproven, it's only accurate on computer simulations, there's no way of knowing what's going to happen with the plume in subsurface. What happens if there is a fissure in the strategic oil reserve? What happens if that CO2 commingles with that? It could be catastrophic. Also, the pipeline is in close proximity to the strategic oil reserve. The strategic oil reserve is there for our national security. So if there's a leak or a rupture in the pipeline, what are the provisions for those employees of the strategic oil reserve? What happens if in an unlikely event we need the strategic oil reserve and there's some kind of catastrophic event with the CO2 and we can't get to the oil because no one can, we have to be evacuated? What is the protocol there? And is the Department of Defense or Homeland Security involved with that? So that is a problem. The other problem I have, which is more concern of legalities, is I think there needs to be an investigation in the appointment of Tyler Gray and his whole involvement in this from the inception of Act 61 to his appointment as the person in charge of giving approvals for the applications. So at minimum, I would like to see CCS go because I think it's fake science. It's not based on true data, but at least there needs to be an investigation as to how Tyler Gray got here. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is John Ruth, or John Rourke. Come back to him. Blaine Johnson.
My name's Blaine Johnson, and I'm a resident of Hackberry. But just to give you a little background on myself, I've been a civil engineer for 40 years, and the past 38 years I've been an environmental consultant, most of my time being spent here in Southwest Louisiana. I'd just like to mention a few things to everybody involved. You know, to the public, you have every right to question what's going to happen at this facility. You know, so don't rely on things that's happening in other facilities in other states and other places that's what's going to happen here. You know, inquire about the details that you feel you need to know about. I have no doubt that Semper is more than willing to give you all the information they can to make you comfortable about this situation. You know, to Semper, you know, y'all been a great addition to our area and our community. You've set a very high standard for your operations here at LNG plant already, and for your character in supporting our community and supporting Southwest Louisiana. But now you got to reach that same standard with this project. Don't only do this as a financial opportunity, but look at it as an environmental protection opportunity as well. Never make a decision on activities based on just the financial results, and set a standard for this type of facility as far as safety of the environment that others will rely on to be a good design for their projects. And, you know, do things like consider and maybe more monitoring that's actually required. You know, and don't just rely on modeling results, maybe require on pure data. You know, make the extra efforts during this permitting process and during your operations to reach the community here, because they'll be the ones that will be backing you up as you go on with your project. And, you know, just again, just, you know, keep reaching out to the people here in Hackberry to make them feel comfortable in any way you can to make them know that y'all's intentions are very good. And then to the DNR, I just want to say that, you know, I've heard that some people say that this was one of the easier sites to permit because of the geology and the past use of the project. Well, I want y'all to make sure that this stays true. Don't give the permittee any what I call mulligans, you know, on the results that they find when they install the well, on the specifications of the facility, or on the quality of their plans for the operations and their reporting requirements. Hold them to what they told you they're going to do to maintain the quality of this facility to be operated. And use this opportunity for y'all, the DNR, to prove that this that y'all are here to protect the citizens of Hackberry and the state of Louisiana, and not just let what others might think y'all do, the departments like this do, is to let people make money off of them, or they have bad issues that affect them in the future. You know, my main desire, or my only desire is that if for some reason Semper doesn't get permitted, it's not due to political pressures from citizens or government that have false information or devious intentions. But there again, if they do obtain their permit, I want to make sure that they and the DNR ensure that this thing is operated under the highest standards. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Scott Walker.
Good evening. My name is Scott Walker. I want to speak in support of the approval of the Class 6 permit. I work for Southwest Louisiana Alliance. One of the biggest advantages we have here in Southwest Louisiana is our geology. Our region's unique geology makes it ideal for safely storing carbon dioxide. And that's a big deal. It means that we have a real opportunity to attract the next generation of energy investment, whether it's advanced technology that gets developed or other major industries that are looking for sustainable ways to grow. Sempra Infrastructure's proposed Hackberry carbon sequestration project is a great example of this potential. This project can play a key role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions from Cameron LNG, and when they cut emissions, their customers benefit too. It supports Cameron LNG's continued efforts to improve operations, optimize processes, and use cutting-edge technology to be more efficient and more environmentally responsible. This isn't just good for the planet, it's good for our economy. Keeping emissions in check will help ensure companies like Cameron LNG stay competitive in the global energy market, and that means they can continue doing what they already do so well, providing good, solid, paying jobs for the people right here in Southwest Louisiana. The Hackberry project also promises real economic benefits both in the short term and long term, new opportunities for local suppliers, local contractors, and the creation of around 215 engineering and construction jobs at the peak. And once it's up and running, the project will support 8 full-time operational roles here in the region as well. Sempra Infrastructure has approached the Hackberry Carbon Sequestration Project with a strong commitment to doing things the right way. They followed a rigorous, science-based process every step of the way, working closely with regulatory agencies, environmental experts, and community stakeholders to ensure the project meets the highest safety and environmental standards. From geological assessments to engineering design, every element of the development is rooted in sound science and responsible planning. That level of due diligence builds confidence not just in the safety of the project, but its long-term value to our region. Communities like Hackberry and Cameron Parish stand to benefit directly, and so does our broader region. Projects like this show how we can embrace innovation, protect our environment, and strengthen our economy all at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Beverly Cox. Ms. Beverly doesn't want to speak. Next speaker is Rusty Havens.
My name is Rusty Havens. I'm here on behalf of 2 organizations. One is called Restore and the other is called SWLA Abolitionists. I have just 2 points to make. One, there's no accountability. My family has had dealings with companies like this for decades. There's no accountability. We've had quote unquote protection agencies come after us, not the plants who pollute and destroy our planet. On the way over here, we had extra time, so we visited one of the plants with a device that detects the level of sound it puts off. That plant was putting off above the level of sound it is legally supposed to. So that tells you out there's no accountability. This company, every company can break whatever rules they want to. They can destroy however much of the planet they want to. They can kill however many people they want to. Cops will arrest us, not them. They won't get jail time. My second point is I run an organization called SWLA Abolitionists, which fights human trafficking in the state of Louisiana. If you research it, there's been companies like this company, not this company specifically, but companies like this company that has brought in people from other nations that has been trafficked to build, to maintain, to repair their facilities after natural disasters and other things. Going back to the no accountability, what guarantee can this company give that they won't use modern day slaves? None, because they have no accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Robin Roussel, or Russell.
Thank you. My name is Robin Russell. I live here in Hackberry on Kelso Bayou. I do want to state that the previous comment made earlier that the land that the pipelines are going on was owned by LNG. That's actually incorrect. Black Lake is owned by Hillcore, and the one of the pipelines actually traverse Gumco partners as well. Game and Fish ran Game and Fish magazine ran an article in the August 7th, 2023 edition that said, quote, known locally as Big Lake, Calcasieu Lake near Lake Charles has earned a reputation for producing giant speckled trout and redfish when it is fishable. However, the 50,000 acre lake can turn dangerously rough when high winds and whitecaps churn the surface. When seasonal winds make Calcasieu Lake unfishable, locals and visiting anglers alike can head for the protected marshes and enjoy the mixed bounty there. Closer to Big Lake, the Black Lake area produces great fishing action, end quote. In March of 2023, Louisiana Sportsman's Magazine ran a piece on the bounty Black Lake has to offer. Quote, a small lake in the marsh of southwest Louisiana gives up speckled trout, redfish, and flounder in early spring. Historically, March is a prime time to check out Black Lake, a close neighbor of Calcasieu Lake. No one knows that better than Kurt Stansel, owner of Hackberry Rod and Gun on the western edge of Calcasieu Lake. Stansel and his brothers Guy and Bobby Joe have been charter captains on Calcasieu Lake and the surrounding areas since the late 1970s. Black Lake is really good this time of year. A lot of my guides fish there, Stansel said, end quote. In the latest data for the 2022-2023 season, Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries states there were an estimated 82,200 duck hunters. For those aged 17 and up, 527,409 hunting and fishing licenses were sold, the majority of those fishing at the south end of the state. Expanding on the conversation of economic impact, Hackberry city limits alone has well over 30 rental vacation homes. Those vacationers are going to buy their groceries and fill their boats at Brown's and purchase bait shrimp from local shrimpers. The very essence of Hackberry was built upon the foundation of blackgrass and bayous, and as a result, our economy still thrives on that today. Black Lake is a mere outdoor office that many in our area utilize. It's a place of work and solitude. Any given weekend, you can watch the parade of guide boats traversing Kelso Bayou headed west to Black Lake. I trust the science behind carbon capture, and while the transition to a low carbon future holds much excitement potential, the impact of its implementation here should be considered. If Black Lake and its surrounding marshes and bayous are disturbed, disrupted, and left as a mere carcass as they once were, the repercussions to the local fisheries could have a devastating economic impact. There's no comparable alternative to this lake. I've always believed that two people or institutions from vastly different ends of the spectrum could live cohesively in the same environment, but I know the dredging of Black Lake and placement of pipelines and materials could be done with such diligence and regard for aquatic wildlife that ill effects may hardly be felt. For that to occur, rehabilitation and preservation of our diverse waterways would have to set a precedence which has never been accomplished since the Louisiana marshes have been plundered for their natural resources. I worry that the Hackberry that once was will no longer will be by the time my children are my age. There's a saying that says, the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. And with initial restoration, we may bend and ache and buckle, but we'll be moving in the direction of healing and restoration. To SEMPRA, you state your website that you protect people and the environment and better the communities where you operate. The area where you plan to work is a significant spot that provides a livelihood to many, so I ask you to bypass Black Lake, and if that's not feasible, I ask you to leave it better than you found it, and not as you've left other areas where you have dredged and dumped and walked away. Instead of sending your environmental impact dollars to Lacassine or Rockefeller or More Odom, use them here to plant blackgrass and widgeon grass. There's no better caretaker of this sacred meandering waterways than a man who uses his hand to make a living off of them, and I beg that idea to be at your forefront. If we're to be good stewards of this planet by capturing and storing carbon, then we must also be stewards of the lands we live on.
Thank you. The next speaker is David Reeves. The next speaker is James Lee.
I'm James Lee. I'm here tonight representing the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association. We represent job creators across the state, oil and gas businesses across the state like Sempra, and we are here tonight to support Sempra's Class 6 permit. We know this is the first one, and we appreciate the process that y'all put forward, and we appreciate looking forward to seeing what Sempra does with this Class 6 permit, and so we are here to support the permit. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Michael Tridico.
My name is Michael Tridico. I live in Longville, Louisiana. However, the little environmental group I started and represent here tonight, Restore, our first legal domicile with the Secretary of State's records was Hackberry, Louisiana, 1975. So I've been at this a long time. The first thing I'd like to say is that in Louisiana, we've traded the old way of life for new ways of death. This place, Hackberry, is not like it used to be in 75. Some might consider it progress. I see a lot of changes for the negative, and this particular project poses additional risks. I have turned in already online to info at louisiana.gov 3 different technical considerations, comments. What I have tonight is sort of a wrap up. The first thing is that test well, 6.5 miles away from where the injection is going to take place, about 10 miles away from where the front of the waste plume will be. Having a test well that far away makes the whole test well meaningless. Secondly, the need for the project. Sempra is going to capture how much of their carbon dioxide? Venture Global says it's going to capture 5% and still release 95% to the atmosphere. So this whole thing is a sham, a facade, a scam, because it means, like you've heard the different proponents say, this helps the climate. Well, it would help the climate a lot better if they weren't releasing 95% and capturing maybe 5% if they're lucky. The pressure of the carbon dioxide, 3,000 pounds per square inch. If there is a pipeline break, there will be people at risk. That's not fair to the people of Hackberry. So there should be, as James pointed out, as James Hyatt mentioned, there should be carbon dioxide monitors to warn people and shut off the carbon dioxide before it suffocates somebody like it did in Mississippi. This is a set of notes that I'm going to turn in to help me remember what I'm supposed to say. I had a brain attack not too long ago. I'm still here. The Creator left me here, so I'm still trying. And there should be a baseline carbon dioxide study to see if there are leaks. That magnetometer thing is not sufficient. I will conclude as soon as I can. Sempra over there is having trouble keeping its pipes and flanges and valves connected. If there is a liquefaction of the soil, it's going to exacerbate their connectivity problems. Could be a disaster as the vibrations from an injection well cause permutations in the soil. That was not addressed in the application. There was a mention of 8 jobs being created. In part of the application I saw that it would create 2 jobs. So there are a lot of things here that I tried to do further research. I read through 600 and something pages, but there looks like 1,000, and your website is very user unfriendly. As far as the IMD webpage, you got to go through about 8 steps guessing before you get to the injection and mining division webpage. Then you got to go through 3 more guess steps before you get to these documents.
So all that business about how all the information is available to everybody when they want to look, they can easily get it, that is not true. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker should be Jim Rue or Jim Roos. He's the director of, okay.
I apologize for my penmanship, but it's Jim Rock. And I'm with the Lake Area Industry Alliance. I'm the executive director, longtime resident of Southwest Louisiana, and also a long-time industry employee. And I'm here to speak in favor of Sempra Infrastructure's permit application. The CCS technology delivers immediate climate benefits by directly reducing carbon dioxide emissions at the source before it enters the atmosphere. There's a lot of groups in the country, Southwest Louisiana, and even in this room that are prioritizing the reduction of carbon or CO2 in the air. That's precisely the objective of this project. CCS is a trusted, safe, and proven technology that's been safely deployed since the 1970s for enriched oil recovery. The Louisiana Department of Energy and Natural Resources standards for siting, construction, operation, testing, monitoring, and eventual permanent closure exceed those standards set by the EPA. So Louisiana's got stricter rules there. The proposed Hackberry carbon sequestration project will be built to the highest industry standards using energy industry's most proven and well-regulated protocols. CO2 will be placed in the same rock formations that have safely held natural gas and oil for millions of years. This project will lower greenhouse gas emissions at the Cameron LNG facilities while supporting the export of clean-burning natural gas to parts of the world where it's not readily available. This project will also create about 30 acres of wetland marshes near the site. It'll be built and operated with proven and well-regulated protocols and operated in accordance with the state of Louisiana, and constantly monitored using 10 different methods exceeding the EPA requirements. There are economic benefits that we've already heard some about, including procurement of materials and services, supporting local businesses, and local sales tax dollars. At the peak construction, there will be up to 215 jobs, and as was stated earlier, 8 permanent, good-paying permanent jobs with good benefits. The entire project, including carbon collection, transmission, and sequestration, will also all be on Sempra property. So I urge the DNR to approve the permit request. I appreciate the opportunity to speak this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, would a representative of the applicant, Hackberry Carbon Sequestration, like to make a statement or provide an overview of the application? Please state your name and fill out the record later.
Okay, sure. Good evening, Hackberry community. Presiding Officer Jonathan Rice, Staff Witness Rebecca Edwards, and other members of the Louisiana Department of Natural Resources. My name is John Koss. I'm the Project Director for the Hackberry Carbon Sequestration Project at Sempra Infrastructure. We appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight regarding the draft Class 6 permit for this project. At Sempra Infrastructure, we're committed to making a positive contribution to the communities where we live and work. For more than 2 decades, we have been a trusted community partner in Southwest Louisiana. The Cameron LNG facility, which we developed and are the majority partner in, and its supporting infrastructure, have created good jobs for hundreds of residents, while our community investment supports local schools, businesses, and critical marshland restoration efforts. Since 2002, Sempra Infrastructure and Cameron LNG have supported southwestern Louisiana with more than $11 million in community investment. We expect the Hackberry Carbon Sequestration Project to bring further positive economic and environmental benefits to this region. Our proposed sequestration project will capture carbon dioxide from Cameron LNG and other industrial sources that would otherwise have been released into the atmosphere. The project includes a proposed well site, a compression facility, and a 9-mile pipeline routed along existing pipeline rights-of-ways to minimize the community and environmental impacts. The carbon dioxide injection well will be on Cameron LNG's property, far from residential communities, 5 miles away from where we sit today. Carbon dioxide will be injected down into the well between 1 and 2 miles deep, where it will be permanently stored. Since 2002, we've worked with local community leaders to ensure awareness and knowledge of this project. This year alone, we have held 2 rounds of informational project meetings at this community center, where we've been fortunate to engage with elected officials and members of the community to listen to and answer their questions. Local jobs was one of the most mentioned topics. This is something near and dear to my heart. Growing up, I saw firsthand how industry can lift a community through stable jobs and opportunity. My father worked in industry and was exposed to the cyclical nature of oil and gas. That experience shaped my deep understanding of the vital need for secure jobs and the ability to provide for one's family. Projects like this one will help insulate Hackberry, Louisiana, and the U.S. from boom or the bust nature of oil and gas industry, and it will provide future-facing solutions for Hackberry and the state of Louisiana to continue fueling the future of global energy. Our Hackberry carbon sequestration project has the potential to create more than 200 construction jobs and up to 10 operating jobs. While we will also support local businesses by using local suppliers for the purchase of goods and services whenever possible. Once operational, the project is expected to contribute to the local property tax base and will expand the long-term commercial viability of Cameron LNG, extending the economic benefits for generations to come. In addition to job creation, we believe this project will bring positive environmental contributions. Cameron Parish has some of the highest rates of coastal erosion in Louisiana. Our project will recycle soil that is dredged during construction to create 30 acres of new wetlands marsh. This will help protect our environment from future land loss and support coastal erosion efforts to ensure resiliency and protection for vulnerable coastal communities, including Hackberry. As noted in our application and in the draft permit issued by LDNR, this project will be built to the highest standards using the most proven and well-tested protocols. Safety measures include a robust injection well design to prevent any impacts to underground drinking water, corrosion-resistant metals, and more than 10 monitoring systems that meet or exceed federal and state regulatory standards. In closing, with robust oversight mechanisms in place and the well-being of our local community at the heart of everything we do, we are confident this project will be an asset to the community. We appreciate the department's comprehensive review leading to this draft permit, and we thank the community for the opportunity to earn your confidence. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more persons that who wish to provide comments or to provide further comments on the original talk? Member, please state your name.
I'm Mindy Gilbert again, and the only reason that there is any attempt to do CCS is called 45Q tax credits. And oil and gas has been involved with setting the amount of the credits when they reached in the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022. That's when they raised the credits to $80 or $85 per cubic ton, whatever that measurement is, for the pipeline, and 130 or so for injection. Oil and gas industry set that. They lobbied for that because that's when they knew they could make the most money. It's not about getting carbon out of the air. It's about getting money, our taxpayer money, into their pocket. It is a money laundering scheme, and that's all it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, did you fill out a blue
No,
card?
sir.
Just fill it out when you get finished.
Thank you.
And please state your name for the record.
Yes.
And if you represent somebody.
Stephanie Rodrigue. I'm addressing the LDNR Office of Conservation as a former Cameron Parish Superintendent of Schools and a current community advocate, focusing on economic opportunities for growth, development, and preservation of all of our Cameron Parish communities. As a resident Cameron Parish taxpayer, forward progression of the Hackberry carbon sequestration project is vital to both our economy and quality of life. Sempra Infrastructure is not only an excellent neighbor, but I have witnessed a company who has revitalized a community that has taken on the wrath of multiple disasters that spurred an exodus of not only residents, but critical resources as well. For over 20 years, Sempra Infrastructure has been part of the Southwest Louisiana community, demonstrating a strong commitment to improving the lives of those who live and work near its operations. In 2005, I witnessed a company that provided staff and equipment to clear properties and allow families to return to view damaged and destroyed homes, assisted with emergency measures, provided food and water, and addressed basic and additional necessities. I said multiple times in 2005, and it still holds true, that Sempra, Cameron LNG, met the needs of the families of Hackberry and beyond before they could even fathom what they needed. The storm damage was that horrific. Since 2002, Sempra Infrastructure and Cameron LNG have invested over $5 million in the Southwest Louisiana community and a diverse group of nonprofit partners. Those funds covered everything from this facility to basketball courts. Most significantly, for the future of any community, but especially Hackberry and all of Cameron Parish, Cameron LNG continues to fund scholarships at all levels of education, from associate degrees through law and medical schools. The goal of those graduates returning to their communities and this parish are quite evident. The investment of Sempra Cameron LNG results in dividends that include young people with the ability to enjoy qualities of lives made possible through very well-paying employment opportunities. They and their families provide revenue to our communities. Likewise, businesses flourish from direct and indirect expenditures of both the company and its vendors. Sempra Infrastructure places the health, safety, and security of its workforce, customers, and communities at the core of its operations, maintaining a strong record of excellence in these areas. I follow our local industries on social media. It is evident that Sempra employees are highly valued by their employer. Likewise, my friends and associates employed by Sempra are highly satisfied employees. The many years of lack of competitive employment are now in our rearview mirror, thanks to Sempra Cameron LNG. Environmental stewardship has always been a high priority of Sempra Cameron LNG, whether relocating nests and other habitats, cleaning highways and coastlines, or most importantly, operating conservatively. This same stewardship extends to their employees, who exhibit a heightened interest in our local environment and actively volunteer for the many environmental awareness projects that Sempra Cameron LNG sponsors. Sempra Infrastructure has decades of expertise and a proven track record in developing and in operating Cameron LNG. The growth and successes of Cameron LNG speak for themselves. Those successes are documented in national and international publications. The Hackberry Carbon Sequestration Project is another way Sempra Infrastructure can help strengthen Hackberry, Cameron Parish, and the surrounding region by creating jobs, supporting local businesses, and contributing to environmental restoration efforts. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the permit.
Thank you. As there appear to be no further speakers wishing to provide public comments, I will proceed to adjourn this meeting. I want to thank everyone for attending and participating. Again, the public comment period will end on June 5th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. And accordingly, the hearing for docket number IMD 2025-004 is hereby adjourned. Thank you very much. Everybody drive safe.